Okay, let's talk. Life does not always go according to plan.
Sometimes we make the wrong choice.
And sometimes life just hits us out of nowhere.
But what if the detour is actually development?
What if the setback is setting you up?
If you're thinking like we're thinking, you're actually at the right place. Welcome to Detour and Duels.
Real interruption, real faith, and a real God.
So, last time we talked about Moses and the detour he caused. Now, if you think about it, one wrong decision equaled a big consequence, which led him in the wilderness for a very long time.
Yeah, basically, one emotional overreaction roller coaster turned into a 40-year grounding. I
Hmm.
don't know about y'all, but I couldn't imagine being grounded for that long. Maybe give me like 1, 2 days, got some slack for me. I was like a whole life reset for Moses.
Reset. I mean, 40 years? That's my whole life. That's like, I couldn't imagine. Like, I couldn't even do anything yet at this point. But I feel like, God still could use them because I feel like I got a lot of life left. But think about it. In Exodus 2, we seen that's when Moses ran. And in Exodus 3, something happened. God called his name. And so, which shows us that God can still use you or call you even in your failure.
Hmm. Through all the mistakes, trials, tribulations. Oh, I could just go on and on. So even when the mistakes are all you,
Hmm,
God isn't finished with you.
better say that again. And as I like to say, the mission was delayed, not deleted.
Hmm. So, as usual, as you know, I have a bunch of questions that ponder in this teen brain of mine once again. And the big thing is, what if the detour isn't really your fault? Like, the chaos, you didn't even choose it, but the chaos kind of chose you. It's like a weird mixture right there.
Interesting. So, what you're trying to say is, what do when life goes terribly wrong because of somebody else's choice?
Yes, exactly.
Mm.
Exactly my point right there. And I think we're going to find the answer in today's story when we learn about our precious dreamer, Joseph.
I think we will too. Hey, have you ever felt kicked while you was already down? Well, Joseph felt this way. In fact, let me give you a backstory. Joseph originally at first he was the favorite child. I mean, his father just adored Joseph. In fact, Joseph was given this fancy jacket. It was like the cootie jacket. I'm kind of telling my age, but it was fancy, full of colors, and like he was feeling himself walking around, and he had these dreams. In fact, he shared with his brothers, like, listen, y'all gonna be under me, and they say, oh, like I'm the older brother and you're the baby brother, and like, who do you think you are? And so he didn't think anything of it, but he just sharing with his brothers. Like, who else would you share it with, right? The people who are closest to you. So in fact, they didn't like it. And so at that point, because he seemed to be the favorite, the father's favorite, they got jealous. And then what happened? Jealousy, it seeps in, and then anger comes. They even devised a plan to kill him. But one of the brothers said, we can't do that. Father's going to be heartbroken. So what do? They talked amongst each other. Hey, well, let's just sell him, right? Sell him into slavery. And Joseph, right, didn't really do anything wrong, not knowing what's happening. But in his mind, once he realized he's being sold, he felt betrayed. They betrayed him. The people that he was the closest to, his family, betrayed him. Can you imagine that feeling? And so, but it doesn't stop there. While he's on his way, right, to another country, he's just thinking, I'm all alone, isolated, lonely. Just imagine the feelings and emotions that he's going through for something that he didn't even do. Just really now for him thinking, I just was the brother. What did I do wrong? And so in that moment, but he had a mindset, and he must have learned from his father. He loved the Lord, and so he did everything as if he was doing it for the Lord, despite of even where he was. He was in slavery. He's a servant. And so in that moment of still being faithful, he got attention. They start noticing him. In fact, he was promoted. He was promoted to work under Pharaoh. Now, if you don't know about it, right? Pharaoh was the top dog. He was nobody to play with. When he gave orders, people listened. He was nobody to mess with. So he was doing good. And what happened? He got attention. Somebody else noticed him. And this was Pharaoh's wife. Now, the wife is right underneath Pharaoh, so when she spoke, people listened too. They probably were scared of her as well. Typically, she gets what she wants. And so then she approached Joseph, handsome young man, right? And she was like, hey, I want a little more than just us speaking. She wanted to lay with him. And he said, wait a minute. Pharaoh has promoted me. He has given me this. Everybody is under me. Why would I want to mess that up? Why would I want to upset the king? I could understand what he was thinking. He was like, man, this is an awkward moment. And so in that moment, she was like, whoa, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, he hesitating? Like, I want what I want. And so he's like, I gotta get out of here. And so he ended up leaving his garment, and she had the garment. She screamed, look what he's done. And at that moment, here he is. Things are going good for him. And she accused him falsely, accused him for doing something that he didn't do. And so what happens? Pharaoh hears this news and sentences one of his best workers to jail, the prison, the dungeon, the dark place in your life. And he's asking, why me? I'm sure everybody been there, but he's saying, why me? Can you believe it? Those who want to learn more, though, they can go to Genesis 37 to 50. Pause break. Go ahead. What do you think about that?
Wow. I mean, just wow. Basically, you're telling me Joseph's life went from being the favorite child, which, I can relate to, being favored, getting all the things you want, but then it leads to the family group chat betrayal? Like that? That wasn't his family. No. The sibling bond just broke there. Wow. And just when he starts succeeding and getting to the top, and he on his A game, he got people liking him, all that stuff in favor. Wow, he just goes behind bars and just in prison now.
Boom. I'm locked up. I feel like he's like, man, like, why me? He got that thought again. And so in Genesis 39, chapter 39, verse 21 tells us, but the Lord was with Joseph and extended kindness to him, even in jail, even in the dungeon, and again, in those dark places that we have. And even throughout the chapter, in chapter 39, throughout the whole chapter, is we're reminded that the Lord was with Joseph. And that lets us know that God is omnipresent. That means he is everywhere, not just in the success, but even in our low points, even in our dark moments. And for Joseph, even in prison.
Wow. But I won't lie to you. If I was Joseph and I had to say something to God, I would have first great gratitude. Thanks for being with me through all the highs and the lows and the nears and the fars. Like, thank you, but you can be with me in some hotel or a palace or a castle, somewhere rich. I wouldn't mind. But to think about it, that dungeon was the very place that Joseph was going to get an opportunity. So maybe on the best side, it was good that he didn't have anywhere else to go except for that dungeon in God's plan. But there was also two people in God's plan that was going to help Joseph out. It was a cupbearer and a baker. Now, there's always a good side and a bad side. And in this story, a good dream and a bad dream. And I like the good side first, so we're going to go with the good side first.
Me too.
The good side, there was a cupbearer, and that cupbearer had a dream that 3 days' time he was going to serve the freshest wine to the Pharaoh. And Joseph said, yeah, I mean, you good. You going to do that. Go ahead and serve the fresh wine to the Pharaoh. I mean, hey. And then on the other side, the bad dream, the baker in 3 days' time was going to die. And not just die, he was going to lose his neck a little bit by the Pharaoh. And Joseph said, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry to play the message, but you're going to die. You're going to die in 3 days' time. I know you don't want to hear it from me, but it's just going to happen. So, 3 days' time, the baker dies, and the cupbearer gets sent to the Pharaoh once again. But, as a gratitude, Joseph says, remember me, tell Pharaoh I'm still down here, seek me out again, I helped you out, you scratched my back, I'll scratch yours, help me out here.
Absolutely.
Turns out that help wasn't granted until 2 years later. Wow. Joseph interpreted the dreams of this man and then get ghosted 2 years later? I mean, wow. I would call that spiritual buffering. I mean,
and it's interesting because the scripture tells us in Genesis 41 verse 1, at the end of the 4 years, something happens. It means what? God didn't forget you? God did not forget him. In fact, what we learned, Pharaoh, remember, we're going to go back full circle. Pharaoh, top dog, had a dream. And guess what happened? Right? He needed somebody to interpret the dream. Now, I wish Joseph probably wish it came a little faster.
Yeah.
But the cupbearer, remember. Oh, you remember now.
Suddenly.
Right? You remember, hey, there is somebody who can interpret dreams. In fact, you know him. Who? Joseph. Joseph? Yes, Joseph. Joseph, you put in prison. But he's the king. And so even in that moment, God used him. And so Pharaoh, God used Joseph. Pharaoh called Joseph. And now what happens is, right, when you thought that everyone forgot about you, God says, hold up. I heard your cries. I heard your prayers. And now here I am to come to the rescue, right? And so nobody else can get the credit but God. And so we see here from the dungeon back to the palace how God can use the very gift that he has given you from an early age and says, hey, I didn't forget I gave this to you for a reason. And what we see here, God has used Joseph once again. Never forgot about him. And it took some time. From the moment that he was betrayed by his brothers all the way up until he was now back into the palace, it took 13 years. And for some people, they would have gave up after a year if they didn't hear anything from God. But it took 13 years, so it goes to show that don't think that God forgot about you, no matter where you are in your life. And so we also learned that this proves to us that even when the detour isn't your fault, God is still at work. And that is the news.
Amen. I need to say that again.
Come on now.
Say that again for the people in the back.
Still at work. You hear me? You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
But listen, just to recap everything that we went through, Moses shows us God redeems our mistakes.
And our precious, precious dreamer Joseph shows us God can redeem us even through other people's mistakes.
He sure does. And as I like to share, detours doesn't cancel destiny. You see what I did there?
Yes, I did. But if this episode helped you, which I hope it did, please do not hesitate to share it with your friends, your family, anybody you may know who enjoyed it as much as you did. And If you have any questions, email us chosen@gsmbcphilly.org. And please, 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 please don't hesitate to share this with others. Please.
All right, we're gonna know if you shared it. But also to someone you know may be going through a detour right now. They may
And
go they may be going through a dark place. And you're fine. I'm just thinking about it. You just never know who we could be speaking to. And they may feel like they was betrayed. They may feel like they didn't do anything. And so we're talking to you.
yeah, and you're right. They may need to hear that God isn't done with them yet. Even though it feels like God kind of abandoned them and they're like, yo, God, where you at? Kind of feel alone. They may need to hear this message as well. So don't hold back from letting someone else hear this message.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, this message has truly blessed me. Even just knowing a story, sometimes going over it is a reminder of what we need. And one of those reminders, your mistakes doesn't cancel your call.
Yeah. And your setbacks don't cancel your purpose. Don't believe that. Don't.
Come on now. And those gifts that you had. But remember, detours don't cancel destiny.
And I'm Destiny.
And I'm Deacon Gerald.
And this is Detours and Do-Overs.
Real interruptions, real faith, and a real God.
Bye.
Have a good one. Until next time. Peace.